All right, I love, when I'm on stage, I love to connect with the crowd, so please don't run away. I'm a nice person, okay? So I want you to move to the front if you can. First thing, I want you to raise your hands, both hands, please. Raise your hands up. If you love sports, come on, if you love sports, clap once. Together. If you are a sports fan, clap twice. If you think Dubai is going to be the new sports city for the world, clap 3 times. Excellent, very obedient audience. I love you. I really love you. All right. So, first thing first. How many of you are from sports clubs and federations? Raise your hand. You're from sports clubs and federations. Gentlemen, please take a seat. How many of you are athletes, coaches, administrators from the sports teams? Raise your hand. Oh, only one. How many of you represent the brands where the money comes from? Raise your hands. Oh, 3. And how many of you are from events operators and organizers? Oh, a couple of them. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, please on stage, please. We welcome our panel on stage. All right. Okay, we're going to start. To kickstart this panel on connecting clubs, brands, and audience in new ways, let's first look at some facts and figures, right? So Global Sports Innovation Center, GSIC, don't ask me why is it so mouthful. It's meant to be intellectually sounding. GSIC, powered by Microsoft, we released a digital transformations report, which was published in early 2025. And there are 3 key findings on fan engagement. First, the main driver for sports industry growth is still the fan. The fan is king. You guys are the king. 2, you're not joking. Oh, hello, hi. And you are from?
I am from X-Player.
X-Player. Okay, come on stage, right? It's okay. He's a fan too. I'm all right. Yeah. Okay, so we have 3 findings. First one, the fan is king. Second one, fans demand real-time updates and personalized experiences across multiple social platforms. Number 3, the official team apps is the most important tool for fan engagement. So these are the 3 key findings of a survey that we released to more than 100 industry professionals. For the first question, I'm going to look at building digital communities. Advocate for Africa's most prominent sporting athletes. More than 30 years of experience in business development, strategy, and fan engagement. 50 most influential African women in sport. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please welcome Rebecca Elliott on stage, CEO and co-founder of ProTouch Africa. Yeah, just a bit of introduction. So ProTouch Africa is a fan engagement advisory and also providing digital solutions that will shape the future of belonging across both sports and entertainment, both in Middle East and Africa. And your mission, Rebecca, is to really help teams, clubs, federations connect with their fans, unlock new revenue, and build thriving digital communities. Rebecca, please share a bit more on how your technology helps to connect the teams and the athletes with their fans.
Thanks, Peggy. Thanks, everybody, for having me here in Dubai. I traveled from Abu Dhabi this morning, expecting it to be a bit cooler, so I'm about to melt. But I think, Peggy, as you said, coming from Africa and now being based here in Abu Dhabi, it's been really exciting to just see the developments, the innovation and the technologies that are really unfolding as we speak. I've spent best part of 30 years, as you said, in loyalty rewards programs, and in the last 10 years specifically in fan engagement in the sports arena, primarily working with sports leagues, teams, rights holders, and more recently with athletes.
Yep.
I think coming from Africa, one of the big lessons that we really learned, having worked with a lot of elite athletes, is just how they struggle to fund themselves to the world stage. The talent is there, but the funding is not. So my move into fan engagement was very much around finding solutions to funding athletes and finding new ways to connect these brands, the athletes, and fans together in order to really find solutions to that problem.
And I love that the passion comes from a real heart to help the athletes, right? And we know that the athlete development is like a pyramid, right? At the base is so many, and only so few will get to the top, and so many fall along the way. But some of them haven't realized potential, and I love that passion. And could you chat a bit more about what does your solution do to help connect, the fans and the teams. Yeah.
So ProTouch basically is an advisory business that also represents a number of technology solutions. So from an advisory perspective, we develop fan strategies that usually involve a fan app, a fan hub, or a OTT platform that actually connects fans directly to the brand. So it's moving the communications from social media into a branded platform where fans can interact, they can participate in polls, votes, get involved in digital collectibles and various other components. So our technology platforms are typically in that space. We work very closely with Blocksport, based out of Switzerland. They are a Web3 blockchain-based white-labeled platform that we use to customize for a number of clients across Africa and the Middle East. They're very prominent already in Europe and some in Asia as well. I represent as ProTouch Blocksport in the Middle East and Africa.
I love it, right? So, a lot of times you guys are just giving data to the TikTok, to the Instagram, right? Own your first-party data, right? So by having digital platforms, you can own your first-party data. If you're an athlete, you own that. If you are a club, you own your fans' data, and then you can monetize that. Now that helps in the funding. And the second part is really about using digital gamification, tokens, because the next generation fan is not just about physical experiences, hybrid. They like to toggle between physical and virtual, and that helps to engage the next generation. I love that. Digital platforms, digital gamification. And I love your mission about, shaping the future of belonging. Most people say shaping the future of technology, shaping the dollars and cents, the future of belonging, right, to a community. And that digital actually helps us to transcend against cultures, languages, geographies. I think someone said that, sports is actually COVID resistant. By using digital, it is actually COVID resistant. So could you share how do you intend to build digital communities? And is it still relevant today?
I think it's very relevant.
Yeah.
I think the reality is that fans want to be part of a community. They want to feel involved. I think it's important to build these digital clubhouses to give them a sense of ownership of that community beyond events. So, not just using physical game day as the time to interact. So these community hubs are really where we can start to build long-standing relationships with fans beyond just, as I said, game day. I think the sense of belonging is around really feeling that sense of ownership and feeling that they are part of the team, both in the wins and the losses.
And I think the key word is 365 engagement, right? It's no longer just engaging your fans during match day, before match day, after match day. It's about building that fandom, someone who loves your brand the whole year. And that means, do you know your typical fan profile? Is it an 18-year-old boy who loves to drive Tesla, who's a Swiftie fan, who loves to eat McDonald's? Do you know that? If you know your fan, you engage them 365. Now, moving back to, and coming on to Steve, who's looking very anxiously like, when's my turn? So staying on the theme of building digital communities, it is clear, very clear that the official Teams app is the singular most important tool to connect the teams and their fans. And not only in terms of providing personalized, or some say hyper-personalized content, almost real-time stats and metrics and highlights, and therefore more interactive interactions. Steve, you oversee sales across both EMEA and APAC at Fortress GP as Vice President. I know your technology is really customized for sports and entertainment industries, and to introduce the technology is called the Fortress On-Site Platform, right? It powers access, payments, loyalty programs, providing real-time data-driven experiences. Your platform also uses smart incentives and dynamic interactions across ticketing, merch, concessions, sponsorship, retail, to create new revenue streams and even a game day revenue. So Steve, welcome on board. Share a bit more about yourself and tell us more about this platform.
Thank you very much, Peggy.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
So Steve of Fortress here. We're a sports technology organisation. We work with close to 250 clubs around the world, providing either their access control solutions, payment solutions, loyalty, and it's all geared around understanding who your fan is and being able to personalise and provide real-time activations at any given time that they have of your ecosystem. So, what we do is we create a single unique digital identifier, which typically has always been the ticketing ID, but what we've created now with Phoenix Arena in America is the venue ID. So taken away, so at the moment, you as a venue, you as an operator, the ID is typically ticketing. Why should it be? It's your venue, it's your operator, it should be yours. So what we do is we created a single unique rotating barcode, but in Brazil, it's your face. So we've just launched the very first stadium in Brazil of full biometric scanning to get into the venue. And what we've done there is we're then using your face, but also in other countries, like I said, at Phoenix, it's using a rotating barcode that we link all of your ticketing accounts, all of your ticketing tickets to that single rotating barcode. We then link your payment card to that rotating barcode. And again, in Brazil, it's with your face. But everywhere else at the moment, it's on the rotating barcode. We also integrate with all of your F&B and retail solutions, EPOS systems. So now you're able to reward fans in real time at that touch point. So for example, I go and spend in F&B, I spend in retail. We have within our loyalty program that's fully integrated into your app. You get a push notification saying, congratulations, you've just completed today's game challenge. Here's €10 or $10 or whatever it may be on us, and it's on your stadium card that can only be spent back inside your venue. So we're creating a full venue solution that allows you to really understand what your fan guest is doing on every single touch point they have in your full ecosystem. Not just physical, but digital. So we bring both together. So if you're using an OTT platform, if you are using a betting platform that obviously in the US is very, very strong in the sports books, we're able to incentivize them and reward them with real-time activations. But obviously the key part is knowing who that is. So us creating that single digital unique identifier allows you as a venue now to know everything that your fans doing in your venue, and you can at real time provide them with activations, with sponsorship opportunities, and it's just creating the new monetization opportunities for you as a venue, as an operator, but also really bringing those partners into your ecosystem, whilst obviously having that secure venue, being able to get people into your venue. Yep. But the big thing today I just want to touch on, especially in this region where we're going, is now with the facial recognition, we've really now, launched this in Brazil. We're launching it a few other places in America, where now it's your face that is your digital identifier.
And I love that, right? So it's a one integrated fan app, right? And basically what it does, I would say 5 key points. Number one, it helps you to build your fan profile. Do you know the fan profile of the fan that goes to watch your games or actually play basketball at your venue? Secondly, what's most important is it's seamless and frictionless, right? Everything is integrated. Just a app on your phone, probably, right? You can buy things, you can play games, you can do activations. And thirdly, the more they do these things on your app, the more data you collect, and you can monetize the data, right? By keep going to the sponsors, the brands, and say, you know what? 80% of my fans, actually, while they're watching game, they're looking at your clothing or whatever brand, right? And then you begin to go to that sponsor, right? So actually, it is actually a very interesting fact. They look at Super Bowl. They realize that while people are watching Super Bowl, most of the mothers and the females are looking at furniture. So look at that. Don't assume that every fan in the stadium is doing what you think you're doing. And the fourth part you're talking about, Steve, is about real-time activations. They can send you real-time updates on what you want. This is a discount now. Do it, buy it. How often you see when a goal is scored and then they come out the jersey, right? Buy the jersey of the player.
Yeah,
right?
no, definitely. And I think a key part is also with the loyalty programs that we create, reward programs we create for the teams, it's global. So it's understand who your global fans are. For example, the Montreal Canadiens, we've now got 900,000 people in their rewards program. They've only got a 20,000 capacity venue.
Yep.
And about 82% of that audience now are their global fans, where now they have their data because they have to join the program. So now they can monetize that data, where before...
Across globally,
exactly,
not just in that
100%. And where before they knew they had about 1.3 million fans out there, but they didn't have a clue who they were. Now with our platform and bringing them in, we're able to now reward them as well. So with our platforms, obviously the key one is to be able to get them into the venue and know who they are. But the person sitting at home or sitting in the bar is just as important as the person sitting in the venue.
Exactly.
And now we've
sitting at home too.
Yeah, exactly. Sitting at home is just as important.
Yeah.
But the only thing they can't get rewarded for is, for example, spending the venue. Everything else they can still get across the whole ecosystem and be rewarded for it.
And imagine that, Rebecca, that helps you in building that helping your athletes raise funding. Awesome, right? Transcends geographies, time, and everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Any thoughts on what you've been shared so far?
I think that it's a very interesting angle to all of this, bringing all of fan engagement together in one platform and looking at monetizing it. I think if you have the ecosystem in place, as my esteemed colleague was mentioning, Steve, that once you have all of this data, you can start at looking at monetizing it. And I think that's the real value in all of the fan ecosystem. I mean, the lines of sports and entertainment are so blurred right now that you have to compete with the entertainment sector now. So sports isn't about what's just happening on the pitch. It's about 365.
Exactly.
What are you going to do when there isn't a game regardless of your sport? So I think when you start tapping into that sphere, it opens up a lot of new technologies, which is the subject of our panel discussion as well, where you start getting into areas like augmented reality, virtual reality, and there's been a lot of research done on this, and I think Deloitte put the number at over 54% of individuals that would be more attracted towards their favorite sports if you have the likes of VR and AR, with it as well. And I think all of us, regardless of whether we're casual fans or serious fans, we do have our second screen.
Multiple
every
screens,
time
not only
we
second screen, yeah?
Whether we're watching at home, whether we're in the stadium, we always have our phone with us. So it opens up new opportunities, and I think that the way that rights holders, clubs, federations, the way that they should be looking at this is that we need to go past the traditional mindset and target these fans in a manner where you're able to appeal through them throughout the year. So, good examples are Welcome to Wrexham. It's really changed how you perceive a football club, right? Although it's just, behind the scenes look. But when you start delving into content like that, you gain new fan bases, and then the angle of monetizing that fan base once you have that infrastructure in between, having a better understanding. So once you have all of that data together, then you can start to truly understand who your fans are, what they're doing, and what can you serve them better with.
So I think the key thing is that you have to understand that sports is sportainment, number one, and sport competes with many other things, right? Music, arts, fashion, pop culture. In fact, I believe that the future is really about integrating everything into one piece, right? Fashion, pop culture, music, sports coming together. That's actually the maximum potential of any fan activation. And I love the way you said that. Don't assume that your fan will love you forever. There's always new interests coming up. If you think they love tennis, maybe there's pickleball or padel coming up. If you think they love basketball, next time there's something coming up, right? So don't assume that, and therefore you need to build that fandom. Now, we're going to change a bit of gear, because just look at how, Rebecca talked about, how to connect directly with the fans, helping them, build their passion, and building digital communities that's even more relevant than ever, because the next generation fan thrives at both virtual and digital platforms. And Steve went deep into example of a fan app that can do everything in one solution. And then obviously, Shaku talked about sportainment and competing demands multiple screens. Now we're going to shift gear and look at the virtualization of experiences, virtualization, and how that could enhance our fan experience. So lovely to have Francis Casado on stage with us. He's the Chief Revenue Officer from 3D Digital Venue, and 3D Digital actually provides digital virtualizations for venues and organizations, therefore making more effective commerce and operations. You also actually focus on premium venue and experiences that look at whose clients are people who thrive more exclusive experiences and who want a very clear, compelling value proposition. Your customers are organizers, event organizers, operators, and consumers. And you do both for in-game and entry engagement. So, Francis, could you welcome on board a bit by yourself and share how does the virtualization of technology provide more premium hospitality experiences? Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Peggy, for the introduction. And it's a pleasure to be here with you all at this sunny day. So I think you guys have been touching a lot of the interesting points. We've been touching data and we've been touching the user. You also mentioned VR and augmented reality. And how do you mix or you blend all that together? So I have to say that we started doing these from a very traditional point of view, like projects or consultants. 13 years ago, we were helping organizations that were building, for instance, a new venue. I remember starting in Spain because we are a Barcelona-based company, but now we are operating globally. At that time, we were helping Athletic Club Bilbao, which is a marquee client over there. They were building a new stadium, and they had the challenge to communicate that to their community because they were literally taking down the old stadium, their legacy, where their fans feel identified, and this is something that is very attached to their feelings. So we were able to create a digital replica of that venue and just showcase the new stadium 2 years ahead of the opening. And the most important thing for the club was how to pre-sell all that inventory. So we have a digital tool now where I can just communicate to my season ticket holders, hey, this is your old seat, this is your new seat, this is how it's going to look like. Let's put it online and let's sell it. That was a new compromise and a new process that offered the customer and also to the club transparency, okay? And we did that for the seats, but also for the premium spaces because on the previous panel, we saw it perfectly. Emirates was on stage, so sponsoring the big deals, it's super important because sometimes just 20% of the seats represent 80% of the revenue. And being able to sponsor the stadium and the experience is very nice, but it's also very nice, as Steve was pointing out, how to do something that is 365, because your sponsorship or your activation is not only going to happen the day of the event. It's going to happen 365, hopefully, or if when you happen or you have your event, it's going to be pre-event. Maybe you are going to engage your audience. They are going to come there. They are going to use our service just to understand how the new space is going to look like. Not only the interior space, but the dome that you have created to entertain the kids, and then the food court where you are going to have lunch with your people, and after that the event, and after that some of the clubs are already contracting DJs just to entertain their people. So we are trying to be part of that experience, connecting ourselves to every other platform. So we've been creating APIs and connectors because this is for us the element that distinguishes us from being just a digitization platform. So we virtualize the venue, but we offer those views for access control, surveillance, fan engagement, food and beverage, and more recently we have started with retail, for instance. Peggy, you mentioned it. So it's very important for merchandise or for food and beverage just to be involved with all those platforms. So being able to understand where are you sitting and bringing your food to your seat, and being able also to connect with the brand shop and being able to redirect your customers to that particular area to buy a jersey or a scarf. That's pretty important, And the most important thing is not just to sell that particular experience, is to bundle the whole thing and in the end generate a higher or a bigger transaction for the club. So that's in essence what we try to do with our platform.
Yeah, and I love that. How often we thought we bought a great seat and we paid £200, and then we sit and what am I watching, right?
Yep.
So what Francis does is his technology allows you to actually pinpoint which seat you want to buy, and actually you can actually be there and look at the 3D. That's why it's called 3D, and exactly know what you want, and not just seating. Now it extends to hospitality, retail, merch. So actually, sometimes it's like you know exactly what you want. But my question to you, would that take away the excitement after all, because you know exactly what you want, and then you go in and does that come to your mind? Yeah.
Yes, it does, and sometimes it's challenging because for the super high-end customer or the super fan, it's really challenging because how do you reproduce what they are going to get? I'm just talking about concerts because I'm talking about sports, but I don't know, I'm paying $2,000 for a Beyonce concert. That happens.
Yeah.
We work with a lot of marketplaces and they sell these super high-end tickets. How do you guarantee that you are going to represent that particular super emotional moment where you're going to spend that money? That's quite of a challenge, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting there and we're playing with, lights and colors and all that, and with sponsorship activations, because this is something that the sponsors are helping us just to do. Think that we offer a window, as you said, a 360 window, and it's a captive environment where we start activating sponsors. Speaking about Emirates, imagine Emirates flashing all around and just appearing on every screen, or just launching your own campaign, or just getting excitement with a trailer of a particular TV show or series. So we try to do that just to engage or enhance this particular moment. But yeah, it's quite challenging sometimes.
Yes,
Yeah, can I just touch on that?
Sure.
That's a very, very, very valid point, Rich.
Yeah.
So what we're doing at the moment with our new access control screens that you would have seen. So we're now doing activations on the screen when you scan in. So before you come in, so for example, we did this the other day, you see a Guinness being poured. Ice cold Guinness was being poured on our screen. And that day alone, the Guinness sales went up 30%. 30% because when they came in, they said, I quite fancy that.
Yeah.
And honestly, we've got one customer in the UK who's been our customer for many, many years. They're upgrading their whole venue. It's a 62,000 venue in London. Their whole venue to these new screen readers because they're calling it the front door of their venue. They are going to be able to get a sponsor for the front door for that screen when every fan comes in.
Yep.
Then it turns into the GA or the corporate. When you tap it in, it says, yes, you've got a ticket and you come. And then it goes back to the sponsorship screen again. So that's so important. And the integration piece you touched on as well is so important. That's what we do. That's how we're able to reward and activate at every touch point, because we integrate with all of the third parties that a venue has. So I just thought I want to touch on because that was such a good point that you said.
But the point actually, I think it's if you guys can imagine it, the next generation fan experience is one whole seamless, frictionless experience, multiple APIs connected across multiple touch points from the moment you enter, the biometric access, the moment you go to your concession stands, merch, retail, even activations to your mobile, what's happening, and then the sponsors come in to be able to even give you the what we call the almost immediate kind of things that you're looking for, right? And that also obviously spans across entertainment and what we're talking about. So, sorry, but Shaku, any other comments on that thing, like this entire virtualization of experience where you can exactly know what you want and you go and you experience 100%? Yeah.
I think I definitely agree with the approach here. If I want to take a step back, because see, this is very interesting when you have very mature markets who've done the basics and you're not playing 0 to 1, you're playing 1 to 100. When you're working with maturing markets that are on different trajectories, right? This sort of area is well within the remit of your chief commercial officers, chief marketing officers. But the bigger question here is that, do you have boardroom backing to invest into technologies like this?
Yep.
Are they going to understand how fans have really changed over the last few years and investing into these technologies, and also radically redefining your club as a whole, right? For example, the Wolves is a fantastic example of how they've ventured into fashion, music, and taking all of that. That's not possible without the right kind of backing that you have in the boardroom. And if your club doesn't have that at the highest level, regardless of the initiatives you take or the ideas that you have, you're never going to get a chance
leadership, right? And this theme has come across so many times this morning and afternoon. Leaders understand that whatever you do is purposely driven, has a strategy, you execute, and you believe in your passion, like what Rebecca said. So I'm conscious I got 30 seconds, and I don't want to be said I've gone over the time limit. So question is this. The fan is still king. The next generation fan is very different. We heard about it. If there were one thing you can do differently, what would it be? Rebecca.
So I think for athletes and for rights holders, it's about stop worrying about how many followers you have and start focusing on building communities. And I think for For the fans, yeah, they want immersive experiences. So we need to move the market from passive audiences to active participants. And
Feel the heartbeat from passive to active, right?
100%.
Awesome. Francis, what's one thing you would do differently?
So I'm guessing that we would do different is just try to attack a different audience. You know, we were trying to go to the big stakeholders, the club owners or the venue operators and all that. And right now we've been learning that approaching the fan is way more effective than just going to the big guys.
Yeah, so targeted, differentiated segmentation.
Absolutely.
Right? Know your fans, right? Know your fans. Steve?
I think the thing that everyone needs to do better, and a lot of teams there's still a lot of teams not, is making sure that you personalise the communication to that individual fan. Not to a big group of fans, because some of those won't be interested, is being able to do that personalised communication to, for example, Peggy. We know Peggy comes in 45 minutes early to a game, but she never buys anything. So let's send Peggy an activation of here's $10, Peggy, on us, and then you'll see that Peggy is gone out, actually, I'm going to go and have a drink now.
Guinness.
And now Peggy's gone and spent 40, 50 pounds with you. So
personalisation, hyper-personalisation. Shakib, because you are last on stage, you have the last word. What is one thing that you would do differently for the next generation fan?
So I would suggest all of the ecosystem to think about the fan experience and specifically look at it from the fan's point of view. I mean, we all have our objectives, but in order to truly resonate and connect with fans, you got to look at it from their shoes.
Put the fan at the center.
Yes.
Ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a round of applause for all of them. Thank you. Thank you.